I was listening to an interesting podcast with Mel Robbins and Jay Shetty. They were talking about the 3 pillars of friendship. And those 3 pillars are proximity, timing, and energy. So number 1 is proximity. That means that we need to be in the same space as other people to be friends with them and to make friends. So if we're not in that same space, it's going to be difficult to make friends or to maintain friendships. And evidently we need about 70 hours of contact time to make a casual friend and 200 hours of contact time to make a good friend. So that's why so many of us don't have friends or maintain the friendships that we once had, maybe like when we were children and we were always at school with the same people or playing in the neighborhood with the same kids. And number 2 is timing. And what that means is that there's a certain time that we can be friends with people. And that timing has to do with a certain part of our lives. For example, if we are at work and we might like the people at work and we want to be friends with them and we don't have a problem with them, we connect. But once we go home and we have our families and we're doing our own thing and maintaining our homes and taking care of our children, we just don't have the time, or it's not the correct timing for friendships. And then number 3 is the energy. So where the energy comes in is that we could be friends with people, but then if the energy changes, if somebody moves, if somebody stops drinking, if somebody quits smoking, if somebody changes their income, loses a job, or gets promoted, all of these things affect the energy in which we need to maintain friendships. So there you have it. There are the 3 pillars of friendships. And this does explain sometimes why it's so difficult to maintain friendships, but it's also one of those things that we can appreciate, that we don't need to take it personally, because this is just ebbing and flowing throughout our lives. So if we can learn to appreciate that, we'll be a lot happier in our lives if we look at it that way.